not weeks, months. First, Belichick said, here we go, some respect for the legend. Bill Belichick's run in New England might not ever be matched, people. 24 years. 17 AFC East titles, 9 AFC Championships, 6 Super Bowls to that, 296 wins as a Patriot alone. 333, special numbers. His 333 wins all time have him 15 away from breaking Don Shula's record as he moves on from Foxytown. There are Looney Tunes out there in the world who's told me he's got no juice, nobody wants him, he's got no value, he's done, his thing doesn't work in locker rooms. I told you, and he is the most sought-after coach on the market with the Pete Carrolls and the Sabans and the Harbaugh. It is about Bill Belichick. Everything's in a holding pattern until that domino drops, falls, and whatever. Now, you know what happened between him and Kraft yesterday and all of that. And by the way, when I talk about Bill Belichick's future, even teams playing now, which is what I've said all along, there's no security for wildcard team coaches. They're playing this weekend and they're playing for their jobs. He is rare. He is one of the best ever. And it's a really weird day in New England, and I feel for these fans, this fan base, and I'm hearing and I'm seeing these Patriots fans upset. They are upset that a trade did not happen, okay? Lots of dudes in Scituate, the suits on Boylston, the suburban moms in Brookline, they are saying, come on, Kraft. You couldn't get any draft picks in return for Bill's 6 rings? Come on. I hear you, but I say this. There is, I believe, a way of doing things. There is an art to these things. There is a rightness to this unravel that I imagine is important to Robert Kraft. I think relationships are everything to him. I really do. Winning, yes, but relationships. I think respect is really important to him. It drives him. A clean ending wasn't just paramount here, it was the only way here. Shipping him off to Carolina or Siberia for a first rounder does not feel like, wouldn't that make it feel a little cheap to what this was, to what this relationship is? Glory, dominance, relentless dedication, consistent excellence in the face of drama year after year, over years. Mr. Kraft is all about relationships. Anybody who knows him or is around him knows this. Was it perfect between them? Not for me to speculate, not now. I do know enough to say Bill meant a lot to him. And Kraft is right, and in his right, to prioritize a unified front, a path of least messiness, if you will. I would bet that meant a lot to him as this new chapter reveals itself. And if you thought Belichick, by the way, was going to let himself get traded and lose assets for his next team, you're dreaming. That was never going to happen. Did the Patriots want to trade him? Yes. He said no. They sat in a room for a long time, it sounds like. Maybe, ordered some food from one Patriot place to take up from Davio's or something over there. This is how it went. This is how he wanted to leave. Kraft honored that. This is how Bill wanted to go. I get the want for assets in return, but there is a right way to do this, and I think that I like how it ended here. I wouldn't have liked to trade. I think that'd be weird. And congrats to them. Let's just say that to start this show. Congrats on a long, tenured, successful, winning, formidable partnership. Kraft now has the chance to make moves. He'll have more control of his team than he ever has, really, if he wants it. Is this the kind of thing that invigorates him? Not that he needs to be reinvigorated, but is this going to get him going on some new stuff? Or is there more stuff he's contemplating in mind? Big moments like this, human nature, you stop when things happen, when there's loss, when there's change, and you evaluate. You think, what's important? What does Kraft want? What's best? What's best for Kraft? What's best for the future of this entity, this thing that he loves so much? Very interesting to see what happens. And it really, I want to just say this, it's what makes him such a great owner. In my opinion, the best owner. I think he's the best owner. He cares deeply about everything, little things, big things, people. He does what he can. He also lets people do their jobs. I'm talking here about him getting more control over it. He owns the team. You can say what you want about the quarterback situation. To me, it is one of the most, if not the most attractive job out there that's available, the most attractive seat, because you get to be around Robert Kraft and the force that he is to the National Football League. I have my job. I owe my job to Mr. Kraft. Giving me a chance, doing deals, growing the game, doing all this stuff. He's the coolest. So yeah, congrats to them. Next, on to the empty seat in New England. There's some great candidates out there, more than ever. But gosh, I hope it's Gerard Mayo. I hope it's Gerard Mayo. If your ownership I imagine like a lot of change is hard. This is a lot of change you're asking for, a lot of change that is needed, and the right moves are being made here. But don't you want some level of comfort? Don't you want like some level of familiarity and trust? I know that the great people of Twitter are going to say, he doesn't have experience, he's never been a coordinator, he's never been a head coach. Do you not think the Patriots know what they have in him, the hours he's clocked there as a player being around the organization? He's there, he wants it, and everyone knows he can lead a team. It's change to go to Gerard Mayo, but it's change wrapped up in a blanket of familiarity. I like this, that's why I like it. And I know that people will say, Vrabel, it makes sense. Winner, players fight for him, he's got the experience. I think Gerard makes more sense. Football-wise, he's got it. And I think temperament-wise, let's not downplay how important in this sort of a transition a level head would be. He's very level-headed, and I think I want level-headed for this Patriot squad at this moment in time. He spent the last 5 seasons on the coaching staff. He's there. And I asked Gronk about him. He said, you know, the experience isn't there. I don't know if I see it. I asked Rob Ninkovich. Obviously, they played on the same defense together. They won Super Bowls together. He was on the show just a couple of days ago, and I asked him about Gerard Mayo. Here's what he said.
As a teammate of Gerard and a friend of Gerard, I know the type of man that he is. I know the type of person, and I know the type of player he was on the field. He was the smartest guy on the field. Gerard was a guy that was the coach on the field. So he'd be out there giving everybody the checks, giving everybody the calls. We're relaying those calls. Yeah, that's the easy part. But for him to go out there and recognize everything and just do it like this, because you have to do it quick, he was the best that I've ever been around.
The best that he's ever been around, can get in front of a group. And I think that the temperament matters. I really do. I think the experience, the comfortability, the familiarity, I hope it's Gerard Mayo. I really do. And that's really high praise. And I'll say this, whether it's Mayo, whoever else is the next head coach, cool. Who's the GM? That is the big question. The GM is the most important factor, the most important piece. I hope Mr. Kraft has that figured out. I hope Mr. Jonathan Kraft has that figured out. They need to nail that because they got to rebuild this roster. And you know, I had somebody help me with a very big family thing a couple of months ago. A family, an emergent situation, and as if he was a big Patriots fan, and to thank him, I wanted to get him something signed by a Patriot. And I could not think of the Patriot to like. Who do I want? A Mac Jones side something? Do I want? I guess like a Judah. Like I couldn't think of it, and I had to go for Bill. I had to go for Bill to try to get it signed, and I did, and it was amazing. But I sat there for 20 minutes. I couldn't think of the Patriot. Who's the star? That's the problem with the Patriots. It's the GMing. It is the making the personnel decisions. Get the right guy in the building. And did I get the last thing ever signed by Belichick as the head coach? I might have. I don't have it, but the person who got it deserves it.